I think at this point, we've moved past the fears of whether or not of COVID-related disruption, and more to what are these companies going to look like in a post-COVID environment. And looking at Yum China and its different brands, I think it's set up pretty well. I mean, as was just mentioned, this company is the leader in China, almost 10,000 locations across the region. It's one of the leaders in terms of technology, and we're seeing them acquire more customers. They've had some pretty impressive growth, largely in the back of their delivery functions during the pandemic. They're operating more efficiently while margins are down. You're seeing a lot of signs of improvement. They're able to do things more efficiently. And so as you start to look at this company going forward, I think as some of the smaller players may be forced out because of pandemic-related pressures, I think Yum China is sitting pretty well. And I think there could be an opportunity. We do see these shares as slightly undervalued at this point, but there is a tremendous long-term story.
RJ, I'm a bit surprised, though, to see this near 4% dip on the debut, simply because we've seen so much enthusiasm for IPOs in the Hong Kong market, and not just tech stocks. Of course, it was Nong Fu Water that really blew it out of the park earlier this week. I mean, do you think this hints at some IPO fatigue, or is this a Yum China specific issue where perhaps they got the pricing wrong?
Yeah, I think that it could be just a Yum China issue. I mean, even though we just talked about I believe it's a great time to look at consumer discretionary names and dominant players within categories like restaurants. It's clear that not everybody's on board with investing in the space right now, and there's still a lot of unevenness. And frankly, it is a lot of uncertainty with COVID, and even management itself. China has talked about that their sales recovery is likely to be uneven and non-linear. So I think that there is still some uneasiness about the stock overall. I suspect that could be some of the story here. Based on what we've seen too from some of the other IPOs in the market, it's not quite the same. I mean, those are largely technology based, and while we obviously just talked about Yum China and their technology assets, I think that at the end of the day, it is a highly discretionary story, and that one that could still see some disruption throughout the back half of this year in 2021. But I think, again, looking at the longer term story here, there should be a lot of market share up for grabs, and I think Yum China is probably one of the best players positioned to capture that market share, at least in looking at China's restaurant sector.